At 85, legendary royal photographer Arthur Edwards breaks decades of silence, revealing the private, unseen life of Princess Diana. From intimate moments with her sons to candid confessions about palace life, Edwards shares the truth behind the public image, exposing the struggles, humanity, and vulnerability of the woman the world thought it knew. Arthur finally speaks, his private truth about Princess Diana. At 85, legendary royal photographer Arthur Edwards has finally broken decades of silence, sharing his personal experiences with Princess Diana, moments the world never saw. He admits that over the years, he had a front-row seat to both public appearances and private interactions, capturing her humanity behind the royal iconography. According to Arthur, Diana wasn't just a figure in the spotlight. She was the most human person I ever photographed. For the first time, he reveals how deeply she trusted him. She trusted me, and I never broke that trust. Until now, Edwards says, emphasizing the weight of his confession. Over the years, he kept many images and anecdotes private out of loyalty, knowing that the palace often monitored what photographers captured. But now, Arthur insists, the world deserves to see Diana as she truly was, not just the polished image the public remembers. His revelation is more than nostalgia. It opens a window into the real Diana, highlighting the pressures, isolation, and subtle injustices she endured. This candid disclosure sets the stage for understanding how a royal's private struggles often went unnoticed, even as the media and public adored her, and it leads directly to the moment Diana first left an indelible mark on him. Behind the lens, the day Diana changed his life forever. Arthur recalls the first time he photographed Princess Diana during her early public outings in the late 1970s and early 1980s. He says he immediately sensed she was different, lost but luminous, he describes, possessing a charisma that drew attention yet masked deep vulnerability. Even before the press noticed, he saw the sadness behind her carefully curated smile, a glimpse of the pressures and expectations she carried as a young royal. That initial encounter, he admits, sparked a protective instinct. "I knew then she wasn't ready for what was coming," Edwards recalls. Over time, capturing Diana became more than just a professional responsibility. It was a front-row seat to history, but also to her personal struggles. He witnessed moments of laughter, tenderness, and exhaustion, realizing she navigated a life that was public, yet profoundly private. Arthur emphasizes that these early impressions shaped how he approached photographing Diana for decades. He learned to see beyond the smile and the spotlight, to understand the human being behind the crown. That first day, he says, marked not just the beginning of a career-defining relationship, but a lifelong bond that would allow him insight into Diana's most vulnerable, private moments. The moments no one else would see until now. The untold conversations, Diana's private words caught between shots. Arthur Edwards recalls that Princess Diana often spoke candidly between official engagements, moments the public never witnessed. These were not interviews. They were private glimpses into her thoughts, fears, and frustrations. He remembers her once confiding, "They only love me when I smile," revealing a vulnerability few ever saw. Edwards says Diana frequently expressed fear about the royal machine and the rigid expectations she had to navigate. She spoke openly about loneliness, betrayal, and the struggles of motherhood under constant scrutiny. Behind the flashes of cameras, Arthur was witness to the princess's most human moments, her moments of doubt and raw emotion. He emphasizes that these candid conversations shaped his perspective. Those weren't interviews. Those were cries for help. Over the decades, Arthur kept these private, understanding the delicate balance between public fascination and personal privacy. He now reveals them to show a Diana the world never knew, someone struggling to reconcile her public role with her private self. These conversations hint at the intense pressures Diana faced and the palace environment that often left her isolated. They also set the stage for what Edwards would later witness between Diana and Prince Charles, moments that exposed the cracks in the royal marriage long before the media reported them. The Royal Divide: what Arthur witnessed between Diana and Charles. Arthur Edwards claims he had a front-row seat to the slow unraveling of Diana and Charles's marriage, long before the public noticed. He describes observing cold body language, awkward glances, and forced smiles at public events, moments that spoke volumes about the emotional distance between them. In private, Diana allegedly confided to him, "Do you think he even sees me anymore?" Edwards says these moments revealed not just marital tension, but the emotional isolation Diana endured. He hints that the palace may have been aware of these issues, yet failed to intervene, leaving her to navigate an increasingly lonely life under scrutiny. Edwards also recalls moments when Diana's expressions of sadness or defiance were subtly monitored by aides, suggesting that much of her private struggle was observed and controlled. He saw firsthand how she tried to maintain grace in public while coping with growing disappointment and mistrust behind the scenes. This divide, Edwards asserts, explains why Diana often seemed both radiant and distant, a duality that captured the public imagination. His observations provide rare insight into the emotional realities of her life, exposing the pressures and alienation that shaped her personality and ultimately influenced her public and private decisions. Palace control: the photos you were never meant to see. Arthur Edwards reveals that many of the photos he captured of Diana were confiscated or blocked from publication. Royal aides reportedly monitored every frame, demanding certain images be discarded or suppressed, especially those showing Diana upset, tearful, or defiant. Some unpublished shots allegedly captured her walking away from Charles alone, visibly distressed, a side of her the public never saw. Edwards kept these images hidden out of loyalty, but now insists the world deserves the truth. He emphasizes that this control over her image was not accidental. The palace sought to manage how Diana was perceived, prioritizing appearances over reality. These hidden photographs reveal her humanity, vulnerability, and the pressures she faced, providing a window into a life carefully curated for public consumption, yet fraught with private struggle. Diana and the Boys: the real mother behind closed doors. Arthur says Diana transformed when she was with William and Harry. Away from cameras, she wasn't a princess. She was simply Mum. Edwards witnessed private moments, beach trips, theme park visits, and laughter-filled afternoons. One photo he captured shows Diana playing in the sand, laughing uncontrollably, a joy never published until now. He notes that her devotion to her sons was what made her both relatable and dangerous in the eyes of the monarchy. Through these moments, Edward saw the woman behind the crown, caring, fun, and deeply human. Her focus on her boys was a private strength that contrasted sharply with her public struggles, highlighting the pressures she endured, balancing royalty with motherhood. The day everything changed. Diana's final public appearance. Arthur Edwards was present at Diana's last charity event before her death, and he recalls sensing that something had shifted. While she appeared radiant, there was an undeniable distance in her demeanor, as if she had already said goodbye to the world she knew. Edwards noticed her avoiding eye contact with certain royal figures, a subtle but telling sign of the strain in her relationships. During a private moment, Diana allegedly confided to him, "I think they've had enough of me," a comment that still haunts Edwards. He felt the weight of her words, realizing that even in public, she carried the heavy burden of isolation, scrutiny, and palace politics. That evening marked a turning point for Edwards. He says it changed the way he viewed Diana and forever altered his approach to photographing her, knowing that behind her smiles and grace was a woman grappling with a life far more complex than the public ever understood. The aftermath: how the palace tried to erase Diana's image. After Diana's death, Edwards claims the palace moved quickly to shift the narrative. Photographers were instructed to focus primarily on Charles and the boys, while any images of Diana were scrutinized or rejected. He recalls being told that certain photos contained too much Diana energy and were therefore unsuitable for publication. According to Edwards, this was part of a quiet campaign to erase her memory from official channels, controlling how the public would remember her. Some of his submissions, showing Diana in moments of defiance, sadness, or joy, were deliberately withheld, leaving the world with a curated version of her life. Edwards kept many of these photographs hidden for decades out of loyalty and respect. But now he believes it is time for the truth to be seen. His revelations highlight the tension between Diana's private humanity and the palace's desire to control her image, showing the challenges she faced even in death. The moment. He regrets the shot he wishes he'd never taken. Arthur Edwards admits there is one photograph of Diana he captured that he has never published and never will. The image shows her in a moment of raw, overwhelming emotion, completely unguarded and unaware of the camera. Edwards describes it as the most human photo I've ever taken, but it wasn't mine to share. He regrets taking it because he believes Diana thought she was alone, trusting that her private moment would remain unseen. That single shot, he says, embodies the vulnerability and authenticity she carried throughout her life, the side of her the palace often ignored and the world rarely witnessed. For Edwards, it is a reminder of the fine line between professional duty and personal loyalty. It also symbolizes the tension between Diana's public image and her private reality, a dichotomy that defined her life and legacy. He will carry this memory with him forever, a testament to the humanity of a woman who captured hearts worldwide, yet remained profoundly isolated behind the crown. Arthur's final word, Diana's legacy, through his eyes. Now at 85, Arthur Edwards says he cannot leave this world without telling the full story of what he witnessed. He believes the world still does not truly understand how trapped Diana was by royal expectations and palace scrutiny. She wasn't perfect, but she was real, and the palace didn't know what to do with that, Edwards explains. Over decades, he has captured both her public triumphs and her private struggles, photographs that speak louder than any official statement or media portrayal. Arthur insists that Diana's story is far from over. Through his lens, she remains a woman of courage, love, and vulnerability, one whose life and legacy continue to resonate. For the first time, he is letting his images and memories speak for her, offering the world an honest, human portrait of the princess who captivated hearts yet lived a life of quiet battle behind palace walls. Arthur Edwards's revelations offer a rare glimpse into Diana's real life, far beyond headlines and public appearances. He shows her as a loving mother, a deeply human woman, and a figure trapped by royal expectations, Through his lens, decades of secrecy, control, and hidden struggles are finally revealed. Edwards insists that Diana's story is far from over, and her legacy continues to inspire. The photographs and memories he preserved allow the world to see her truth, honoring her courage and humanity. Now, at last, Diana's life, love, and challenges can be understood on a more personal, authentic level.